I turned 61 that day, craving a simple dinner with my son, his wife, and a few close friends. Nothing fancy, just good food, warm laughter, and perhaps a toast to another year of holding it together. Instead, I ended the night in stunned silence, staring across a flickering candlelit table as my only child boldly demanded something that was never his to claim. The evening began innocently enough. The restaurant, chosen by Jessica, was one of those chic new spots raw brick walls, dangling filament bulbs, waiters who called you chief. I'd barely settled into my chair when she handed me a gift bag, tissue paper spilling out like a burst of confetti. Inside was a tiny baby onesie proclaiming world's best grandma. "We figured it's time," she said, her eyes bright, her smile polished. "To start planning the nursery, right, Ethan?" He nodded, eerily calm, almost scripted. "Especially since we'll have more rooms soon." I blinked, confused. "More room?" Jessica leaned closer, her voice sugary. "We're so thankful you're on board, Ellen. Not every mom would be this selfless." The table fell silent. I frowned, unsure what I'd supposedly agreed to. Before I could speak, Ethan stood, tapping his spoon against his glass. "A quick toast, everyone," he said, loud enough to hush the room. "Tonight's not just about my amazing mom's birthday. It's about a big step for our family." Jessica whipped out her phone, filming. "We're moving into Mom's house," Ethan announced, beaming. "It's perfect. She doesn't need all that space anymore, and we're growing our family. Such a generous gift." Glasses clinked. I froze, my fork dangling uselessly. He looked at me, smiling too intensely. "Right, Mom?" The room's weight shifted, a trap snapping shut. Jessica's camera pinned me. Everyone stared, expecting my response. I nodded, not in agreement, but in panic, my mind blank. I forced a smile, sipped my wine, and prayed the moment would pass. It didn't. The conversation moved on, but I sat there, blood draining from my face, the meal turning to ash in my mouth. Jessica babbled about redecorating my house paint colors, crib placement, tossing my dated drapes. She laughed. "We'll let you visit, of course. You can keep your herbs on the patio if you like," Ethan added. "We'll give you time to move out. No rush." They hadn't asked me. They'd decided, declared, broadcast to my friends, that my home, the one I'd shared with my late husband for 3 decades, where I'd mourned, lived, fixed leaks with my own hands, was now their baby's playroom. I excused myself before dessert. Ethan shot me a look like I was overreacting, but I mumbled about feeling ill. Jessica offered to order a rideshare. I refused. I walked 3 blocks in heels I hadn't worn in years, blisters forming chest, burning. But it was the only way to quiet the screams in my head. When I got home, my house felt wrong, not safe, not mine. I locked the door, checked it twice, then again. Their voices echoed to Jessica, mocking my drapes. Ethan saying I didn't need the space. My husband's photos on the shelf felt like alarms, not memories. I sat at the kitchen table, hands pressed flat, unable to move for nearly an hour. When I finally did, I opened a drawer untouched for months, my husband's old files, legal, papers, wills, contacts. The last time I'd seen them was after his funeral. There, I found something I'd forgotten, a power of attorney form from 2 years ago, signed during a hospital stay for bronchitis. Ethan's name was on it. My stomach churned. I texted my lawyer at midnight, asking if it was still valid. Her reply came at dawn. "If you didn't revoke it, yes, we need to meet." That's when it sank in. Ethan wasn't asking. He was executing a scheme. I didn't sleep that night, replaying Ethan's face as he raised that glass. His announcement. So confident, not loving, not hesitant, but expectant like I was a deal to be closed. I sat on the couch, robe pulled tight, staring into nothing as Jessica's voice looped in my mind. "We're so grateful you agreed." I never agreed, not with words, not with gestures, but I didn't stop it either. I let their performance Play out. That was my error. And it was already spreading. By morning, Jessica had posted a slow-motion video of my living room. Soft music overlaid, captioned, "Our family's new chapter begins farewell to Grandma's house. Hello to our home. My sofa, my bookshelves, my window with its lace curtains." It's 37 comments. So kind of her to hand it down. She must be thrilled. I scrolled until I couldn't breathe. Ethan had emailed me a transition plan, items to move out. By month's end, suggested handover dates, and a link to a Pinterest board labeled Modern Nursery Vibes. Photos showed my bedroom reduced to a crib and glider. I hadn't even responded to the dinner. Hadn't said yes, but they had. I called my lawyer before 9 a.m., her tone sharpened when I mentioned Ethan's name on the power of attorney. "In today," she said. I dressed like I was heading to Battle Crisp slacks, buttoned shirts, shoes that clicked on wood. I brought every document I could find, deeds, folders, scraps. She scanned them, lips tight. "You never revoked this, Ellen. Technically, he could make decisions if you're deemed unfit, but you're not." "Exactly," I said. "But if he gets a doctor to claim memory issues or confusion, even on paper, he could challenge you. In court, it's rare, but it happens, especially with family property." My stomach sank. She peered over her glasses. "Revoke it now. Be cautious what you say or sign. Everything goes through me. Clear." I nodded, my voice gone. Got home, my keys stuck in the front gate. For 2 minutes, I jiggled, twisted, panicked, thinking they'd changed the locks. It was just stiff from the cold, but that fear lingered. That night, I didn't cook or clean. I sat at my table listing everything I'd funded for Ethan's adult life college tuition when he lost his scholarship, wedding flowers, half the catering, an emergency loan for IVF that never happened. They weren't even trying for a baby. They just said grandma and knew I'd soften, and now this. I opened my closet, pulled down old photo albums. Ethan in his soccer uniform, Jessica at their engagement, all perfect teeth. Me and my husband toasting in this very house. Shut the album. I texted Ethan one line. "We need to talk. No announcements or Pinterest." No reply for 4 hours. Then a thumbs up emoji. That's when I knew I wasn't his mother anymore. Was his hurdle. A locked door, a name on a deed he needed to erase. 3 days after the dinner, a manila envelope slid under my door while I showered. No knock. Just paper scraping tile. I nearly slipped on it, still in my towel. Inside was a preliminary transfer agreement for my house. My name. Pre-filled Ethan's and Jessica's too. Only the signature line, mine was blank. A note in Ethan's tone, but typed formally, read, "No rush. Signed by Friday for bank approvals." Thanks, Mom. Bank approvals. They were leveraging my home already. I texted my lawyer, sent a photo of the document. She called instantly. "It's acting like it's his. If you sign, it's done. Shred it." K-mailed it, I said. "That's a paper trail to make it seem you're agreeing. Don't respond. Don't engage in writing." That night, I dug through my filing cabinet, finding a health directive from my hospital stay 2 years ago. Buried in it was a limited authority naming Ethan as my financial proxy if I was incapacitated. I'd signed it, stressed, hooked to an IV, when he said it was for insurance. I hadn't read it. My lawyer confirmed if they found a doctor to claim I was confused, they could freeze my assets in court. It wouldn't be simple, but it could trap me. I went still, replaying the dinner Jessica's filming. Ethan's past tense claims. Mom agreed. She's letting us. It wasn't careless, it was calculated. I spent the next morning locking my credits, securing accounts, revoking Ethan's powers. I removed him as my emergency contact, changed app passwords, saved every text without replying. I called the building manager, asking who'd access the gate. Kay hesitated. "Ethan used your spare key to check on you." Kai hadn't asked him to. I didn't know he had a key. I filed for a lock change. That night, I moved my documents to a lockbox under my bed. I stopped wine with dinner, skipped sleep aids, kept my mind razor sharp. I journaled every interaction with them, even faked a grocery list to timestamp my clarity. I wasn't paranoid, I was prey. 2 days later, Jessica appeared, smiling through my peephole, holding a gift bag and an iced coffee with my name misspelled. I opened the door halfway. "Just popping by," she chirped. "Thought I'd check in. Hazelnut cream. Extra ice." She offered the cup. I didn't take it. "You didn't text." She laughed. "Wanted to surprise you. You've been quiet." I let her stand there, hoping silence would push her away. Instead, she shoved the bag at me. "Prenatal vitamins," she said, eyes wide. "We're trying." I blinked. "You're pregnant?" She touched her stomach theatrically. "Just a few weeks." We weren't going to tell, but after the dinner, she teared up. "It meant so much. You gave us your plays." She wasn't pregnant. Her eyes were too sharp. Later, when she came in briefly, she grabbed a sparkling water from my fridge, drinking carelessly, no pregnant caution. I said nothing, just watched. She roamed my house, planning crib spots, repainting, removing my cluttered closet. I followed silent. "It's this bookshelf," she said, tracing it. "We'll donate it, right?" "It's old. My husband built that 31 years ago." I didn't answer. She peeked into my sewing room. "This'll be the nursery soon. Babies need calm, not chaos." Something snapped, but I stayed calm. "Jessica, when did your doctor confirm the pregnancy?" She faltered, laughed. "It's early, no tests yet. I just know. We're going Monday." No proof, no ultrasound. "Obviously," she said, the word cutting, while she was in the bathroom. I glanced in her open Persa manila folder with my house's floor plan, new furniture notes, and a Zillow estimate. They weren't moving. They were flipping it. I snapped a photo, returned it, and sat calmly. "Stay for dinner?" I asked. She looked surprised, then smiled. "Sure, call Ethan." "No, just us." I served frozen pasta and flat wine. Let her relax, then watched her leave, still chatting about paint and baby names, oblivious I'd seen her folder. I locked the door, slid my sewing machine against it, and started a proof folder with my screenshots. This wasn't family, it was theft, and I had evidence. At sunrise, I called my friend Clara, a retired realtor now growing lavender, 2 counties away. She answered at 6:11 a.m. "No questions, just tell me." I spilled everything, the dinner, the fake pregnancy, the documents. She listened, then said, "Get out, before they know you're on to them." She offered to list my house privately, no public ads, just cash buyers through her network. "You'll get less, but they can't interfere." I agreed instantly. For 3 days, I played naive short texts to Ethan, liking Jessica's nursery. Posts, sharing a meatloaf photo captioned "home cooking hits." I wanted them to think I was pliable. Meanwhile, I found a 2-bedroom cottage 2 states away, lakeside, through Clara. The photos showed a dated kitchen, a chipped deck, but it was private, mine. The seller, a widower, downsizing, took cash, no haggling. We shook hands the next day. While Ethan thought I was watching TV, I wired funds and hired movers. I enlisted a church friend, Tom, with a truck. No questions. He packed my husband's tools, heirloom plates, and attic photos in a day. I told the super I'd be traveling and not to share with family. I changed my emergency contact to Clara, got a P.O. box, forwarded mail with a delayed start, and set an electric shutoff, claiming I was moving for health reasons. I kept my face neutral, my voice soft, letting them think I was fragile. On day 4, Jessica sent a video from my couch, captioned "Soon ours, but Grandma's legacy forever." It had 2,000 views. I didn't cry, screenshotted, filed it. That night, I left an empty suitcase in the hall for Jessica's next unannounced visit. She'd think I was packing for a trip. Tell Ethan, assume they had time. They didn't. I was gone in days, the keys in new hands, leaving only a locked cabinet and the faint smell of sage they'd never scrubbed from the drapes. On Tuesday, as I finalized the sale with the title company cash, no contingencies, closing. In 72 hours, a sharp knock hit my door. I froze, listening. It came again, then Ethan's voice. "Mom, open up." I stayed silent. I'd changed the locks 2 days earlier, unmentioned. I heard his key fail, then a heavier knock. "Mom, we need to talk." He spoke through the door. "You're ignoring texts." Jessica's freaking out. "We know about the realtor. You're selling. You're sabotaging us." Silence. His voice dropped. "If you don't open and talk like an adult, I'll do what I have to, legally." He left, but an envelope slid through a transitional. Occupancy review with a note about a potential medical guardianship claim. I called my lawyer, read it aloud. She sighed. "They're building a competency case. It's escalation." That night, I organized my lockbox, copied files, recorded a clear summary of my decisions with timestamps, and emailed it to my lawyers. Secure folder, every text, screenshot, transaction, sale agreement, cottage offer. I wasn't just guarding my money, I was proving my mind. The next day, Jessica yelled in the hall, loud for neighbors. "We're trying to start a family, and you're cruel. You said we could have it." She filmed, red light blinking. I opened the door slightly, said leave, and shut it. Her video, family betrayal, pregnant and homeless, got 4,000 likes. I saved it all, Ethan texted. "Sign the attached deed transfer, and we'll drop this." I forwarded it to my lawyer, then replied, "You'll be served this week. Don't contact me." I powered off my phone. By dusk, my bags were packed, a note left for the buyers. "It's yours, except the silence I'm taking." I left at 4:35 a.m., suitcase rolling over cracked pavement, not looking back after 32 years. Clara met me with coffee and a knowing smile. The cottage, 4 hours away, was quiet. I stood in its empty kitchen, exhaling months of held breath. 3 days later, I checked my phone, 37 missed calls, 19 voicemails, 60 texts. Mostly Ethan, some Jessica, others unknown. Group texts to cousins, friends, my sister showed Jessica's video and Ethan's tale of my abandonment during their pregnancy. I read, didn't reply. The betrayals stung people I'd helped now, saying, "Come to your senses." Ethan cast himself as the victim. But my niece, Sarah, texted Aunt Ellen. "I don't believe them. You okay?" I replied, "Safe. Done." She sent a heart. "Call if you need me." It wasn't loud, but it was enough. My lawyer confirmed the sale closed, funds transferred, deed filed. The house was gone, never Ethan's. The guardianship threat wouldn't hold my paper trail. Was ironclad? I'd updated my will weeks earlier, leaving everything to a trust for elder women rebuilding. Ethan and Jessica were cut out, barred from contesting. I sat on my cottage porch, water in hand, sun fading, phone buzzing if Dad saw. He'd be ashamed. I didn't reply. I knew my husband would have said, "Do it faster." A package arrived, no sender. Just a white box with a framed sonogram and a card. "Can we start over? Ian J." It was a stock image Jessica had posted months ago. I left it untouched. Their email offered dinner, no pressure. I ignored it. Saturday, their SUV pulled up. Jessica in heels, Ethan with wine, knocking. "Mom, we drove ours," Ethan called. Jessica faked tears. "You're shutting out. Your grandkid." I stayed dark, silent. After 22 minutes, they left the wine-labeled Redemption Merlot. I poured it out Ethan's last text. "You win. Hope losing family was worth it." I saved it, deleted his contact. My neighbor, Diane, a divorcee with a candle business, laughed about the fake sonogram. "You didn't give in." That makes you a threat. Dangerous, felt good. I planted rosemary, joined the cope, let unknown calls go to voicemail. Jessica's message begged for a door open for the baby. I deleted it. The only door was mine, locked. At my lawyer's over coffee, I signed the final will. "It's done," she said. "They can't win." Sarah called Ethan's posting betrayal quotes. Jessica's bio says chosen family. Let them sulk. I laughed. The trust, the Silent Haven Fund, launched my deposit aiding women like me. I saw photos of my old house, new family, my bookshelf with plants. Still standing? Closure. Ethan's old friend messaged, "You did right. Wish my mom had." I said, "Thanks." I wasn't just safe-eyed, named a silent struggle. 6 months later, barefoot on my porch, mint tea from my garden in hand, I watched birds skim the lake. No word from Ethan or Jessica since the legal notice barred them. They didn't fight. They knew I was not just away, but untouchable. I gardened, volunteered, learned chess with Diane, who saw my sharp edge. The cottage was my rebirth. A letter from Sarah with her newborn's photo. Read, "If she's half as fierce as you, I've won." I pinned it up, cried softly, "The kind that heals." I wrote a check to a women's shelter, signed, "Use it well." She escaped. As the sun sank, wind chimes humming, my phone buzzed an unknown number. I didn't look, just powered it off. Slid it away. This life, no audience, no lies was mine. The silence wasn't empty. It was peace, permanent, untouched.